Coming up on ECG, what does Disney hold for the future of the galaxy?
Marvel suffers from the Bendis.
What does Disney have planned for our heroes?
Nintendo switches publishers' minds.
All this and more coming up on the East Coast Geek Podcast. Welcome to episode 116 of the East Coast Geek Podcast for Friday, November 10th, 2017, where we bring you all the latest news on comics, movies, and gaming. I'm your host, Jeremy, and with me, as always, is Opu. How you doing, bud?
Pretty good. How you doing?
The usual. I'm surviving, I guess.
Because you're a survivor?
Yeah,
I'm not going
like
to sing the rest of that.
Oh, I thought you were actually going to sing the rest of it.
No. I had to cut myself off before we lose more subscribers.
Are you highlighting my error in the read? Was that
No. It kept demanding that I assign you to that article or that line, so I was like, well, screw it, I'll assign it to him.
Great.
I don't know what that means. But, listen, your misreads are still not as bad as my puns. The bends.
Oh,
yeah.
The bend is.
I didn't know what else to put.
Yeah, that's fine. So, the Xanathar's Guide to Everything is out today, or yesterday, was it, right?
I don't know. I've been seeing a ton of people post it. It seems like people have been able to buy it early from some cons.
I've seen pictures of it, and it looks really nice. It's a little different, a departure from the way the other ones look. It looks like a mix between the new books and the classic D&D books. So
right. I really like the way it looks. I haven't bought it yet because I spent money on another RPG that I've been harping on about. I don't even know if I mentioned it last week, but Paranoia. That's what I've been trying to get ready to play.
Is Cthulhu involved?
No, well, I guess it could be depending on how badly your characters are doing.
Oh, great.
But yeah, I got Call of Cthulhu over here, so trust me, I want to play that as well. But no, Paranoia is like if Monty Python wrote the book 1984, and also if everything took place within Aperture Science.
Oh, great.
So you are a clone that just got your red clearance in this area called Alpha, this city called Alpha Complex, that's run by Friend Computer, which is your friend. And you are a troubleshooter. You find trouble and you shoot it for Alpha Computer, or Friend Computer. But it's unlike D&D or other games where you know the rules of the game, what dice you need and everything. You don't know anything. Pretty much what I just told you is it. You're at the lowest clearance level, and you have to work your way up while surviving. It seems hilarious. I've actually listened to some people play it, and I'm reading through the documents. It seems like absolutely hilarious. As long as you have the right people that understand the kind of game it's supposed to be. So I'm just getting ready to play that.
And I was just thinking about something. I was listening to one of the shows I listened to, and they were talking about they had the host of Major Spoilers on, and he was talking about what they were doing for Critical Hit. They were working with a new system recently that just started, some kind of like average superhero system that they're actually basing out of his hometown in Kansas. I'll have to look into it, see if I can find it while we're doing this. So
Paranoia isn't new. It's been out. Ironically, it came out in 1984.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was when the first edition came out. Here's the thing: is I spent 2 or 3 days trying to find. There's a couple of editions. People recommend the second edition and the XP edition. And I kept looking for the XP edition because it introduced this thing called perversity points. When your players do something unique or funny, or they work within their character, the game master can award them perversity points. And the perversity points allow them to alter rolls, any rolls in the game. So, like, say if you're trying to make a saving roll so you don't get disintegrated, your friend can say, "No, I want to throw in 2 perversity points and drop his roll down to lessen his chances of surviving."
Great.
Yeah. So, But I was trying to find this XP edition, and I couldn't find it anywhere because everything was just saying paranoia, paranoia, paranoia. Then I read up a little bit, did some actual research. I found out, they had actually quit calling it Paranoia XP because Microsoft threatened to sue them.
Oh, great.
So and if I had looked at the actual covers, it still said XP on there. So I'm dumb.
The system that they're doing is called Urban Shadows.
Urban Shadows. I have not heard of that one. Unfortunately, I'm not well versed in tabletops yet. Well, D&D is pretty much all I've played.
The newest episode of their show is the first episode for that series, so maybe we'll have to check it out. All right.
Yeah, I've only got 200 episodes to catch up.
Oh God, it would behoove you to skip through to the systems that you like, because at a certain point they jump around for a little bit.
Oh too, yeah, so. No, I skip like certain things. I listened to the one with the Fate.
Yeah, that one was actually really good. That sounds like a lot of fun system.
I skipped the Paladins and Dinosaurs one or whatever it was because I'm trying to listen to the D&D one mostly.
Right.
But sometimes I'm like, because the old games, the old 4E are they playing? And
yeah, they were playing 4E.
The battles take so long. Like it'll take an hour for them to finish one combat. It's frustrating sometimes. I really prefer the faster editions of D&D when it comes to combat. But
gotcha.
Hey, we'll talk more about that on a later date.
Sure. Why don't we hop right into it? Because all I've been doing is playing Destiny and hopping around a bunch of other games.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Fortnite for us.
Yeah, Fortnite too. We've been playing a lot of that on the that's been restreamed on the Twitch channel. So, all right, let's see. Comic fan smashes shop door of Gotham City Pizza for hosting Ethan Van Sciver.
Yeah,
is he somebody important?
Huh?
Is he somebody important?
Well, yeah, he is a comic book writer, artist, illustrator known for Green Lantern and Superman, Batman, New X-Men, and The Flash Rebirth. So apparently he was having a signing there, and I guess he, for whatever reason on Twitter or whatever, somebody threatened him to, like, don't go to this comic book shop or cancel your signing, and he did it anyways. And I guess when they showed up, the door was smashed.
Oh, no.
So fortunately, the GoFundMe well exceeded the amount to fix the door, so that's been taken care of. Gotham City Pizza, I believe, is in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, okay.
So he actually hosts a YouTube channel where he explains more about the industry as well as teaching how to draw and other things. So he actually has does in a way outreach to the comic community, and somebody, I guess because of political views he has on Twitter or whatever,
right?
They decided to threaten him, and that's not cool, guys. It's fine to like argue online and stuff, but you can't threaten people. They go smash up, and it's like it's weird. Like if our buddy Perry made me angry, and I went and punched Jeremy for it. That's all they did. They didn't even confront Ethan about it. They went to Gotham City Pizza, who was like, "Hey, let's try to bring in the community more,"
Yeah.
For pizza, for comic books and stuff. Like, and you go and attack them.
Yeah. It's lashing out. Juvenile lashing out. Honestly, that's all that is.
And, we're supposed to, like, comic book fans, here's the thing. I'd constantly defend comic book fans for arguing over stupid stuff. Like, Marvel is better than DC and back and forth. Silver Surfer can totally beat Spider-Man, Superman. Or whatever. I'm totally cool with stuff like that. And I love fandom rivalries because, hey, sports has it. Why can't we have it,
Right.
But the thing is, we're not supposed to go and cause riots and burn down cities and flip over cars when, a new issue is out. We're supposed to just read it and enjoy the characters. Don't do stuff like this.
Have I ever told you about the reason why DC should only be doing Batman comics?
Because that's the only thing they're obsessed with it. And comic book normies, that's the only character they know.
Oh.
They only know the memes online. It's not they've actually read one of the comics.
So you're insulting my fandom now.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Of course you'd think that sounds good, Perry. I know it's a little delayed, but, I just looked up. All right, is that all you got for that one?
Yeah, pretty much. Just be nice to people.
Yeah, right.
And we've got more stuff about people being awful to each other.
So. Yeah, there's Yeah, there's more than enough to go around. Uh, Brian Michael Bendis is jumping ship to DC from Marvel. It's kind of a big move, right?
Yeah, he's been with Marvel for quite a while. If you don't know Brian Michael Bendis, he was like the '90s, early 2000s, late 90s. He was the go-to guy. He was the superstar of writing there. He more or less single-handedly developed the Ultimate Universe before it got obliterated. He's made some characters that are kind of original, some less so. Like he made Miles Morales, who was pretty decent in the Ultimate Universe before he got transported to the main universe, and they started shilling for him and having him curb stomp people that were way out of his power level. Then there's also when he created Riri Williams, who, well, we've discussed her enough. But so here's the thing. So there's multiple reasons behind it. He's friends with some of the people that are with Warner Brothers and DC. So there's rumors that he's wanting to try to jump into films to get really big bucks. DC is known to pay more. They have better perks to be there. Marvel, especially now, is hiring just the cheapest people they can get, and it shows. Unfortunately, if you look at if you talk to any shop owner, obviously they're padding their sales via shipments and sending more copies than requested or stuff that wasn't even requested. But he was currently writing 5 books for Marvel, and he was coasting at that because he used to be like his stuff was on point. The joke was that he wrote too much dialogue, and there was just walls and walls of text in his stuff. And he had like this realistic type of writing where his characters would stutter or repeat stuff or say, like how us average people do.
What? We don't say ever.
I'm notorious for it, and I'm aware of it, so it makes it even more frustrating for me. But anyway, so he's been turning terrible scripts for typers. There have been there's been no real editors at Marvel lately, or nobody really doing the work. So some people are like, well, maybe he's just trying to move up in the world, or is he like the first of the big rats fleeing a sinking ship? Only time will tell.
Yeah.
But with him being one of the big draws, because writers' names do draw, it's not always just the characters, but with him being one of the big draws for Marvel right now, and he's leaving now, and he could always go back. We don't know what the contracts say, like if he cannot write for Marvel on any one-offs or anything. But still, this is kind of significant. So have at it. Whatever you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, is Marvel going to falter any more than it already is without Bendis around? I guess is
I don't
the
know.
big concern.
Even he was like selling some comics in the tens of thousands, which isn't that great. They should be putting on characters that are supposed to sell well. I was looking at a listing from a few months ago, and it was like the Scooby-Doo comic was outselling some of Marvel's bigger names or whatever.
Right. Yeah, well, Scooby-Doo's been around a lot longer, right?
Well, no, 70s.
No, I know.
Marvel's 60s, 40s. Depending on the character.
All right. Let's take this other one because this one kind of sucks too. We got plenty of people being terrible to each other.
Yeah. So you want to read it or you want me to?
No, go for it. You can do this one.
Okay. Paramilitary group raids Libya Comic Con and arrests attendees. A comic convention was deemed blasphemous in the Libyan capital Tripoli, where an Islamist paramilitary group shut down a gathering of superhero fans for inciting violence, detaining and reportedly beating some 20 participants, inciting violence, and they're beating people.
Yeah.
This is the second Libyan Comic Con. This is of its annual Comic Con.
They're beating them with irony, apparently.
This irony feels like metal. The second Libyan Comic Con opened in Tripoli on Thursday, bringing together local comic book lovers and cosplayers who dressed up as their favorite heroes. The party, however, was crashed on Friday by the so-called RADA Special Deterrence Forces paramilitary group, which raided the event, detained some 20 people, and seized computers and other equipment. They arrested over 20 people, organizers, participants, and visitors. Anyone who was wearing a badge, including visitors, were arrested, thinking they were organizers because they were wearing a badge.
Great.
Some kind of intel there, guys, for a paramilitary group.
Right.
The militants told detainees, according to the anonymous organizer, that they had committed an impressive number of crimes against public morals, which included agnosticism. You want to say that for me? I can't get my mouth to work. Atheism, Masonic ideas, believing in Halloween. I'm going to let that one sit for a second. Believing in Halloween.
Okay.
Distorting the minds of youth and even abandoning Islam altogether. Believing in Halloween.
Yeah.
Requires a paramilitary group to jump in there.
Doesn't that mean you have to believe in Halloween for it to be a threat?
You know what? That's actually interesting. I didn't think of it that way. Could you imagine the U.S. Special Forces breaking into like San Diego Comic-Con and shooting the place up because some people there were dressed up and they believed in Halloween?
That's ridiculous.
It's
absolutely ridiculous.
The militants said that they were rescuing the youth from Comic-Con, an event they called destructive and foreign to Islam in Libya. This sort of festival, imported from abroad, exploits the weaknesses in their religious faith and their fascination with foreign cultures, the SDF statement read.
Do you remember when the Greatest Generation tried to rescue our children from rock and roll?
Well, I mean, yeah, I remember. Listen, I remember when rock and roll was the devil. I remember when comic books were the devil. I remember. D&D. I mean, this is still a thing. Video games. D&D
was evil.
Used to be with Harry Potter.
Hey, this gives me a chance. I always love bringing up the Tom Hanks made-for-TV movie. What was it? Monsters and Mazes or something like that. Yeah. It was the anti-D&D movie. You should check out what they thought about it back in the 80s, man. That was crazy. I think you can watch it in its entirety on YouTube because who's paying for that anyways?
Exactly. I mean, well, it's got, I guess, early works from Tom Hanks. That might be interesting. Have you ever seen the Darkest Dungeons, the Chit Track?
No.
Whatever his name is? The religious pamphlets?
No.
Yeah, they made that into a movie.
Oh my God.
You got to watch it. Well, it's tongue-in-cheek. It was made, like, the guy that actually believed the stuff, or people think, I don't know. He never really gave interviews, but anyways, he backed the movie and everything, but it was absolutely hilarious that they got away with doing it because it was absolutely ridiculus. Like Cthulhu, D&D summons Cthulhu.
Oh God.
Apparently. Anyways, so where were we at? Foreign cultures. The purported dangers included dissemination of pornography and even encouraging young people to use sharp tools and kill. As evidence, the statement cited artworks depicting violent scenes.
I'd make a politically charged comment there, but I once again like to keep politics out of this. So
we are trying to keep politics out of this. However, this is something that I felt like needed to be brought up.
It's a thin cut between the veil.
Yeah, this is really riding the line for us, and I was like, shouldn't I pull it? But it's kind of important, you know. Just anyways, let's just move. They had no real world. They had no problem with real world violence, though. Some of those who were released had received a beating, had their hair shaved bald, and were giving a religious lecture. They were told that Libya is a Muslim country, not a free/liberal country. The organizer told the Libya Herald. The Comic-Con movement began in the United States in the 1970s as a convention of a small number of fans who exchanged superhero magazines in San Diego, California. The event has spread around the world since then, making it to even some countries such as Saudi Arabia for the first time this year. And I don't remember hearing anything about Saudi Arabia setting the place on fire. Right. But no, so this just goes to show you that people you turn violent when there's something that they don't understand, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's fear of the unknown, fear of change. And
Yeah.
I mean, Western influences have always been an issue over there, so.
Yeah.
But, we're a world environment now, so. Just trying to think of the best way to put that. All right, well, let's get on to the bulk, the meat and potatoes of the show, which it seems to be booming again because we're getting into that colder season,
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
yeah, you know. So, without further ado, let's do this thing here. All right. Let's see. Pictures next. There. Okay, this is probably the biggest part of the news for this week. Is
that we'll talk about.
I guess, is Rian Johnson, who is directing The Last Jedi, that's being released this December in theaters, has been given the reins to a new Star Wars trilogy. The details are pretty sparse, but the announcement from Lucasfilms just states that Johnson will write and direct the first installment, and that new crop of films will be separate from the current Skywalker saga, and allow Johnson to introduce new characters and lore in an unexplored area of the Star Wars universe. But whether or not these will tie into the episodes or the standalone movies like Solo is unclear. Release dates for the new trilogy aren't known either, so when and where these movies will come into the fold is a bit of a mystery. This is kind of one of those things where we're getting ahead of what's going on. More speculation than anything. Mitch and I talked offline, throwing things back and forth, and the first thing I said was, oh, well, what makes the most sense is them doing something in the Old Republic, which happened, was it tens of thousands of years before?
Like 50,000 years or 3,000 years. It was several thousand years.
And even back then, back in that day, the for those of you that don't know, the conflict between the Jedi and the Sith was like at a boiling point, and that's why they've made it such a big See, it. You know what, Perry? It's gonna be on everybody who loves Star Wars mind, who loves it that deeply, that knows that kind of history. Anyway, so the even more so at a boiling point than it was in the Skywalker movies, because there were a large number of Jedi and a large number of Sith as well, and it would make the most sense if they wanted to do something like that, but at the same time, I can't see them going in any other direction than in the past. There's a lot of history back there that we never know anything really about. Like, you'll find out who the Mandalorians are more in depth than what you learn from Jango Fett and Boba Fett, who both wear the armor of a Mandalorian warrior. Things like that. There are a lot of things that they could cover, and I hope that would probably be the best one to do, because I would love to see Revan on the big screen. He was pretty awesome.
So yeah, the thing is that the twist within the first KOTOR game, it's so well known within Star Wars fandom and gaming fandom. I remember that because that spanned two fandoms
titles,
there.
Yeah.
Which they already kind of mesh anyways, but whatever. Would they go with that one and say, like, because we already know the twist with that one?
Was it Revan and Malik, right?
Yes. But I think I would absolutely love. No.
Well, but see, that's
here's what I want real quick. I would love a KOTOR animated show, kind of like the Clone Wars was, but like even more raw and uncut. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that was kind of a darker story in a way to me. But go ahead. What you were about to say?
I was totally got derailed and started thinking about what whiny actress I would get to play Bastila Shan, though.
Well, she had to be one of the British ones.
Obviously. Oh, maybe they could get Emily Blunt to do it. There you
Hmm.
go. Anyways,
Hey, listen, she wasn't whiny. She was more
but she can act, so
bossy. No. For Bastila, Karth was the whiny one always. I hated Karth. Oh my gosh, I hated Karth.
Bastila was like too overconfident.
Well,
that's
yeah, she was. Remember, she was treated as like a prodigy because she had one special ability.
That battle meditation, man. It gets
that
them
battle
every
meditation, which. Yeah, and then like they keep talking about her ability, and so when you finally get it explained to you in game, it's like, oh well, she makes everybody feel better about themselves while they're fighting. Like, how does that churn? Like, oh, I feel really good. I mean, we saw in Empire Strikes Back that one guy felt like he could take on the entire empire, and he died within 5 seconds.
But there's translation to that in the real world, though. That's just that battle motivation false sense of superiority. It's the reason why you have the story of the 300. I mean, not that it's a direct translation to it, but you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, they could definitely explain it better. Like more, like maybe it actually does slightly boost people's awareness, or like subconsciously ties everybody more to the Force in a way.
Right.
And they just call it battle meditation. But the Revan story is great in KOTOR. And you know what? KOTOR 2, it's got a lot of flaws. And that's because LucasArts rushed them on it.
Yeah, but the problem the problem won't be there. When you get into the movie format, they cut out all the dead weight and they keep on focus on the story. And I think, because I don't want to spoil it for those that don't know that listen to the show, I think that story is actually a really good, relevant story. And, one of the things that it goes for the rest of this we should have just cut that middle article out because it's really not important, but a good follow-up. But Marvel has done something recently Disney has done something recently to the Marvel movies that has, as best as I've been explained it to me through other shows I've listened to, have not made a superhero movie. Okay? They've not made only a superhero movie, my bad. So you've got like your adventurers Indiana Jones style movie with some aliens and and a superhero movie in Guardians of the Galaxy. Ant-Man is basically a bank heist in sheep's clothing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they're learning to adapt to what people want to see, and then putting the layer of the superhero on it, and that's how they're being so successful, and putting out materials that not just what I want to see as a fan of comics. I use that term loosely because I don't read them that much, but even stuff that my wife can sit down and enjoy. That's because, and it's because of the substance of the story, not just because it's Iron Man. She doesn't know who Iron Man is. She's never read comics. But now she knows because she's seen the movie and she knows what's going on. You've got that the man who's lost in his ways and finds himself out in the desert in Iron Man. That's basically what it is. Then he comes home to find his world upside down. So they've done a really good job of translating that, and I think that's the real big appeal, especially with Rogue One. I know some people didn't like it and didn't think it was a good movie, but it wasn't just a Star Wars movie. It was a war movie. It played out like, and I felt like it was like the old World War II movies, like I said before on the show.
It showed it from a different perspective, because what we've seen in the Star Wars universe so far is like fun adventures. Yes, we've seen people die, and there's been a lot of dark moments, but I mean, your main character is a magic knight, and he's got a roguish, handsome thief, and then he's got a sassy princess with him, and then he's got 3 or 4 comedic characters for relief. Rogue One was, for Star Wars, it was dark and gritty. And, so, by the way, Perry, but that is good, and that would be good movie or show or whatever later on, but again, we need something that's like thousands of years, like, and not even within the battle between the Rebel Alliance and the Empire. This has to be something because they're so tied in. You know what I'm saying? We that's why we think it's going to be Old Republic, something Old Republic. And then you get let loose with tons of different force abilities that we haven't seen.
Yeah, and the number of people being able to participate in said battles.
Yeah,
it's a lot more exciting the more lightsabers you get in there. They proved that with the Clone Wars, right? Was the Clone Wars the Battle of Geonosis? Which one was that in?
Yeah, that should have been in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So another thing is, I'll tell you like the Revan story is great. KOTOR is great, but we all know what we want to see. We want to see HK-47.
Oh, everybody wants to see everybody's favorite Merc with the mouth, right? In the Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's like a Bender with more less thieving ways and more murdering ways. Right. But I would love to see HK-47 in a movie. So I absolutely would hope that would be KOTOR. Yeah, and maybe they could do some different twists. Malik was cool too, and I actually kind of felt bad for him like later on because he was frustrated with always being second best because there was no way he was going to be as powerful as Revan and everything like that.
Did I ever tell you the story about Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Wise. Did you ever read that book?
No.
So
what book?
The one where it's like how Palpatine ascended. Through the Sith side and stuff. And you find out that like when you read the book, you found out that this story, how he took over, he killed Darth Plagueis and stuff, was like days before Episode 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like he like Anakin. I haven't. Yeah. Like they just like he found out about Anakin, so he had to do like this speed chest to get everything in place, so he could take out Plagueis and ascend like he needed to. But anyways, I mean, there's tons of Star Wars stories. Really hoping for Old Republic something.
It happened the same time that Darth Maul died.
Yeah, Darth Maul died.
Oh, that's cool. I like that kind of stuff because it's behind the scenes. You don't see that stuff.
Yeah.
So so as he's stepping off the ship in Theed right after everything happened, he had just gotten done taking care of Darth Plagueis. Great. Mm-hmm. That's at the same time kind of makes me feel sad.
Yep.
So, all right, let's go ahead and hit the next thing, and then we'll go back to talking about Disney because they seem to be the hot topic this week. All right, this one is the steaming pile of garbage of the news. Universal goes back to their drawing board as the Dark Universe producers abandon the franchise. They have released how many movies?
One. Well, okay, now we have to remember this is technically their second because it was supposed to start with Dracula, Untold or Reborn or whatever? Remember that one?
No, I don't think I ever saw that.
But you know about it, right? That was supposed to be their first jumping off point. But then they were like, no. That was like a test, guys. The Mummy's going to be our real jumping off point. But anyways, so...
Hey, you know what? You know what? This makes me really sad. I just want you to know because I think that it would have been interesting to see Kurt Russell be Dr. Jekyll.
I think he would have been a better one.
I think if they decide to reboot again, they need to stick with that pick. I think he's in the right wheelhouse. It's like so I played this game when I was younger. This was like 10 plus years ago. It was called The Movies, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's where I learned how they recycle actors for different genres as they get older. Mm-hmm. So your older men get to be more of the horror role models for those stories, or sometimes the sci-fi stuff, but at least the villain side. And you know, it depended on you casting those certain people in those roles and their star power and stuff, but that's beside the point. He would knock it out of the park. I think Johnny Depp was probably a bad choice to throw in there for who are they putting him in as?
Probably nothing now.
Yeah. Well, nothing now, but I think that would have been a bad move. He's too busy with Pirates of the Caribbean anyways, so.
Oh, he was going to be the Invisible Man.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
You know
Yeah,
what? And here's the thing. I thought the Wolfman that came out a few years ago, I thought it was pretty good overall.
Yeah.
Why didn't they stick with that one? The guy, Banderas or whatever his name, not Antonio Banderas, but or Benedict, whatever. I don't remember. He looked just like the original guy. Anyways.
Really? Okay.
So, reports over at the Hollywood Reporter, I guess that's what THR is. I keep thinking of that video game company. Says that the writer-producers Alex Kurtzman and Chris Morgan, who were hired as Universal's Dark Universe architects, have departed the franchise. Just 5 months after Universal released a cast photo promising a slew of movies starring the likes of Johnny Depp, Russell Crowe, and Javier Bardem.
And you know the reason why I recognize
Javier.
The reason why I recognize Alex Kurtzman is he wrote and directed, wrote and produced Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, and
he's all over the place. Transformers, Revenge of the Fallen. He did Now You See Me, Star Trek Into Darkness, and Ender's Game. He was a producer on Now You See Me and Ender's Game, but he's been all over the place. He also produced Now You See Me Too. That's really important. But the one with what's his face.
Yeah, that is not that great of an actor.
Yeah, that's the one. He's the one that plays the same guy in every movie, and that's what I'm thinking of, right?
The guy that plays what's his face in Zombieland.
Yeah,
the nervous guy. Yeah, I don't like that actor. He's okay, but I don't.
We totally block out the fact that he's been Lex Luthor. Jesse Eisenberg.
I had it in the back of my head, and it's like, he was Lex Luthor. I said, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Right. So anyways, all drawn on the characters like Invisible Man, Wolfman, and Frankenstein, and its stable of classic horror films. None of the projects appear to have a pulse. The site notes, in early October, Universal pulled the plug on pre-production that had started in London for Bride of Frankenstein. Why would you start with Bride of Frankenstein as opposed to Frankenstein? It's like they're trying to do gender benders, like they did it with the Mummy, which could have worked. If one, Suicide Squad hadn't come out a few months before,
right?
And plus, Tom Cruise just played a jerk in that film. But which would have followed the Mummy as the second entry in the series. Partially because execs felt the script by writer-director Bill Condon wasn't ready. Angelina Jolie had been courted for the lead, but is now not attached. Insiders insist Condon, from Beauty and the Beast, remains attached, but no date has been set to resume work. And a February 14th, 2019 release date has been shelved.
I was gonna say, I bet you that gets pushed to the right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's already almost 2 years away, a year away, right?
Yeah,
whatever, year and a half, whatever.
Year and a couple months.
So Universal allegedly isn't pulling the plug totally. The site notes that the studio is exploring its options. One road involves offering the IP to high-profile filmmakers or producers with ideas for one-off movies not connected to a larger universe, which is kind of what they needed to do to begin with, and then imply or whatever.
Yeah, they could have subtly implied who does that really good. Because all the Marvel ones are connected, but they don't really say it. They have those. See, they drop the hints right. Okay. The Marvel movies, the little news articles in the background about the Hulk and stuff like that. That even if they weren't planning on doing a connected universe in the first place, that was actually really good name dropping.
Exactly. See, they did it as an Easter eggs. So right. If they decided to not bring the Hulk in, or legally they couldn't, those were just for the fans. But since they could, well, hey, now we could go pull those articles off the shelf and use those for plot points or whatever. It is also possible that the studio could find a new architect who could overhaul the concept. Universal president of production Peter Kramer sidestepped the issue, claiming that they're more focused on getting a special kind of director than worrying about release dates. We've learned many lessons throughout the creative process on Dark Universe so far, and we are viewing these titles as filmmaker-driven vehicles, each with their own distinct vision, says Kramer. We are not rushing to meet a release date, and we'll move forward with these films when we feel they are the best versions of themselves. That's how you should do pretty much every film. Let the filmmakers take the helm, except when they do weird stuff like Mother that just came out. That's somebody, an executive needs to step in there and say, okay, this is not going to fly. This is stupid.
So I have problems with Hollywood in general, and I understand that they think and they assume, and that's probably what drove a lot of people to go see The Mummy was, oh, I love Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Find somebody that's good in the part and is natural. They don't have to be big names. All they keep doing is trying to attach these big names to get draw from that. How about make a great idea and put actors that can actually do the acting and want to do the acting? More often than not, they end up with freaking actors that like basically phone in their performance, and it just ruins the aesthetic of the movie, and it makes me not want to watch it again.
See, so here's the thing, and I know we keep going back to Marvel because guess what? Marvel's the first one to do something on this level right. And yes, for what, again, it's not perfect. There's a lot of flaws that I have issues with Marvel films, but one, Robert Downey Jr. was a no-name when Iron Man came out. Yes, he was big in the 80s and 90s. We remember him.
Yeah, but as soon as he had that drug issue, he flushed down the toilet. Nobody talked about him anymore. He was out of the public eye. But then they're like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in this movie Iron Man, and half of our generation who didn't watch great 80s movies had no idea who Robert Downey Jr. was.
Yeah, nobody knew who he was, and now he's a big star again because well, first of all, he's a really good actor. So,
and obviously from his performance outside of the role in the public eye, he's actually a pretty decent guy after his turnaround, which is nice to see.
Yeah, he it seems like he definitely got humbled by that incident. And, I'm glad he's moved past it and it's gotten better. I don't like seeing people fail and fall, although I am kind of enjoying what's happened to Hollywood right now. But we're not going to get into that. So, yes, one, you got to get the right actors. Sometimes you're going to take risks and get some no-name actors that are really passionate about the projects. There's tons of people that would probably take pay cuts. One, to be tied to a big name movie, and two, to be able to work on something like Frankenstein's Monster or Creature of the Black Lagoon or Wolfman. I know I would love even bit parts into something like that, and I would never want to become an actor.
Yeah.
But if somebody was like, hey, we just need you to be random Harry Villager 47 for Wolfman, I'd be, heck yeah. They're like, but you can't talk because with that accent, you are not going to appear from the 1800s in Europe or Germany.
Right. It's like I heard the interesting backstory of the reason why Logan got made and why it was such a success. What's his face? Hugh Jackman wasn't gonna play Logan anymore. He was done.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't gonna play Wolverine ever again. He was already ready to hang up the suit, but he gave them a condition. He says, "You give this guy a ton of money." Who's the director? I can't remember what his name is.
I forget him.
And you give him free reign, leave him alone, let him do his thing, and I will be your Wolverine again. And they, basically responded with, "Well, you're gonna be Wolverine again, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, totally." And that movie shows, between that and Deadpool, the success that can be had if these directors are given the reins. That's the other problem, is the studios dabbling in micromanaging of a movie.
And sometimes that's needed. They should have stepped in on Fantastic Four sooner. And again, it's easy to call hindsight on this stuff because you don't know when you need to jump in. Like Deadpool, I'm sure what they did, they slashed the budget bare bones, $50 million for his, 55-ish. But it worked for him, and they got paid back 100 times that. I don't know, $1 billion worth. Close to it.
I kind of noticed it before, but then really noticed it after you pointed it out that last scene actually did take place on a dilapidated helicarrier. Apparently, there was an agreement that they could use that, but they weren't supposed to make a huge deal about it.
And they couldn't say what it was.
Yeah, they couldn't say what it was, and Feig was all okay with it and all that, and got the okay from Disney to allow him to do that. Man, that really plays into the last story of this section that I wish we would have put that one first. But
Yeah.
let's go ahead and cover this other one.
But we would have never referenced Deadpool if it hadn't been for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you've got to put people in there, and you've got to have executives, which there's apparently not that many smart executives that know when to step in and know when to be hands off.
Right.
And I guess usually that's when the reshoots. That's when you need to have your control. But I don't know. I'm not at that level. But it just seems like these are the guys you would, for something that's supposed to be art, you would want the artist to be in full control.
Yeah. Well,
obviously you read through the script each time they rework it, and when there's a scene about this weird orgy and they're eating a baby, a newborn baby, maybe you need to be like, oh yeah, okay, we need to. This can't happen. So anyways, so after that quote about the best versions of themselves, here's the funny thing is that I'm going to skip a few lines here, Jeremy, but here's the funny thing is they want artists, they want the best filmmakers to make the best versions of these movies, and they didn't let Guillermo del Toro make Creature from the Black Lagoon.
That would have been amazing.
I couldn't have thrown enough money in the world at that.
Yeah.
I would have been like, how much, Mr. Toro? $200 million? There you go.
Yeah, right.
But he makes, because he knows how to take the spirit of something and make it work. If you analyze
which it seems he's going to make work on December 1st too.
Yeah, which I really want to see this, and it's just getting hard for me to see films right now. But he's really good at taking the spirit of something, the concept of something, boiling it down to purest form. Like when he wanted to make a monster movie and a giant robot movie, Pacific Rim was amazing. He made Hellboy, and there's a lot of stuff in Hellboy I don't like the audience surrogate, which y'all have heard 1,000 times on this show. But that was Hellboy. Like that was Hellboy, and he used the prosthetics as opposed to CGI him. Oh, and by the way, they wanted a human. This is why you don't let executives run stuff. You get people that are passionate about the material. They wanted to have a human that hulked out into Hellboy when he was angry. That's what they wanted to do with Hellboy, as opposed to Hellboy being Hellboy.
Isn't there already a character called the Hulk?
yeah, there is.
Seems like that would be infringement on a property.
Yes. Well, we're not going to even get into all that. So here's the thing. So here's the special irony about all this statement: is Guillermo del Toro, The Shape of Water, which opens December 1st, 2017, is directly inspired by the creature from the Black Lagoon. And probably will be, again, an Oscar contender for Fox Searchlight. And he was once tied to Black Lagoon. And so here's the thing. So this movie's going to come out. Oh, well, we can't do Black Lagoon for another couple of years. Even if your your jumping off point was this month, this year, and then your next one was coming out in 2019, well, you'd have to push back. If Black Lagoon was going to be your next one, nope, that's going to have to be 2 or 3 movies away for the audience to forget about it. And you're still going to have people to call it out. So, while Universal may be seeking other options, they've yet to crack the MonsterVerse with their horror films ranging from Wolfman to Dracula Untold. That's the one I was mentioning. So, we're going to have The Shape of Water, which that's going to be excellent, because Del Toro knows how to do horror. He knows how to do monster films.
Who's he doing that film with?
I'm not sure. This article is the first I've heard about it, but the moment I hear Del Toro's name attached to a horror film, it's done. Like, if they would let him do Mouth of Madness, the H.P. Lovecraft thing, which they were supposed to be doing,
yeah,
and that got pulled, I couldn't get to the theater fast enough.
Doing it with distribution, Double Dare You production distributed by Fox Searchlight, so... American romantic fantasy horror film. Perfect.
So, here's my thing. Does the Marvel the monster films does the Dark Universe have to be set in modern times for it to be a franchise that works?
No, of course not.
Do you think this franchise could get away with doing Well, here's the thing.
Why wouldn't it? DC's doing it. I told you. Yeah, I know. I told you I thoroughly enjoyed Wonder Woman. I thought it was refreshing for it to go way back, and just be a memory that she was having, and which I fully expect something to happen in Justice League, and something at the end happen to cause another memory for a little bit later down the line in what was World War One age, like Silver, right?
Golden Age.
Golden Age. So Silver was World War II generation, or
no, it was a little bit after that. It was around. I think it was when Barry Allen first appears. When they consider that's when the Silver Age starts. I think
you get
Barry Allen appeared in the '60s. But I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying. They're doing what they need to do to lay the foundation for her character. They showed her, and then they gave her a backstory, and then they oh, good lord. I was trying to keep the screen alive. They gave her backstory, and now they need to continue with her adventures that led her to where she is today. And I think that's great for that character. It's necessary for Wonder Woman because she has that heritage, that pedigree for those years, where Batman's just been around for the last technically in their modern age, like.
And within their movie universe, yes, he's supposed to be around for about 10 years.
Right.
But obviously with her as an ageless goddess or semi-goddess or demigod or whatever.
Low blow. Just long enough to get Jason Todd dead.
Ouch.
Yeah, right.
So here's the thing. You brought up oh my goodness. I think that would have been brilliant. First of all, okay, you already had the Mummy, which is beloved. The Brendan Fraser Mummy. I think this is what I would have done. I would have shot I would have redone the Mummy within that era. You know, what was it, like the 20s for them?
Yeah.
The 1920s?
20s, 30s.
1930s, I would have redone like more or less that movie. Yeah, I would totally gender flip the Mummy to be a female Mummy. I think that would actually be kind of a cool idea.
That's fine, but like you said, do it in the time period that it makes it relevant. Because
go ahead and say it. I know you were about to say it because I think I'm about to say it.
Because you're artificially transplanting her into the future when her story starts back then.
Well, not only that, but that's like the era of discovery for the pyramids and stuff.
Right.
That's like when all those big discoveries were being found. Obviously, I don't know if the exact era, but here's what I would have done. I would have shot the film basically Brendan Fraser's Mummy. Female Mummy, whatever. She's coming after him, that's cool.
Right.
Totally works. The end of the film would have been the modern era, a really, really old Brendan Fraser's character, Tom Cruise's character. So basically, modern day Tom Cruise, just with more gray hair.
Right.
Because he's already, 70 or something.
Right.
But no, the last scene of it would have been like them pulling the mummy's sarcophagus like out of storage, and then it's in the modern era. Because again, she's like Wonder Woman; she could be ageless.
Right.
For all we know, they could have at the end of the film they could have not killed her, but sealed her back away, and then somebody's brought her back out of storage. When do the Indiana Jones thing? Oh, she's being investigated by or researched by top men, and it's just stored away. Well, Dr. Jekyll brings her out for whatever reason or something,
You know that's Porkins, right?
Which one?
The one that says top men.
Oh.
That's Porkins from Star Trek or Star Wars. Star Trek. Yeah. Whoops. Party foul.
Well, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I get it. Universal needs to hire us. We can fix their problems. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's so easy. I could totally have done this and made it work, and it would have been brilliant. And that way, you have your retro story, which everybody would have loved. I would have even thrown Brendan Fraser in as that's their other mistake. They should have acknowledged that beloved series.
Oh, for sure. People love it. I have Blu-ray copies of those movies. They were great movies. They were a lot of fun. I won't say that they were great movies. They were a lot of fun. They were enjoyable movies.
Here's the thing: does every movie need to be Casablanca? No.
No.
But you can have fun movies. They were fun, likable characters. The threat was real for them. You know, the motivations were clear. That's all you need. They had ups and downs, high points and low points. It was a general adventure story. But anyway, so that's what we got.
right.
So Shape of the Water. I've got to research this because, one, out of all of the movies, Black Lagoon's my favorite. Then Wolfman.
Yeah.
And Dracula's like towards Frankenstein. I would rather them to make a more true Frankenstein because we see that dumb Frankenstein too much and it drives me insane.
Dracula's my number one. That's one of my favorites.
Like I'm talking about like not the movies themselves. Well, okay,
the story around the character, the mythos is what you're talking about.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But out of all of them, Black Lagoon's my favorite of the movies. Yes.
Oh, okay.
But he's also one of my favorite characters.
Okay, so before we get into the next story, I just want to put out there that we are now less than 7 days at this point to getting The Punisher on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Which is caveated by the fact that Disney's no longer allowing Marvel to shop shows around with other studios. Not studios, but distribution houses, such as Netflix.
Publishers or whatever.
Publishers, yeah, or Hulu. There goes the, what was the show that just started on there? Was it The Gifted?
Runaways?
Oh, The Runaways. What's the other one that's coming? The X-Men one.
No, The Gifted's on Fox. And
The Gifted's on Fox. Wait, is that is that the one that...
That's X-Men.
Is that the horror one? Which one's the horror one?
I think it's supposed to be the harder one. I'm not sure.
You know what I'm talking about,
You talking about the Hellfire Club?
No. It was the...
Legion's been on.
No, not Legion.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm on a total blank.
It's not important. Anyways, so they're not allowing them to shop around anymore with those, and this is probably causation for the fact that they want to push their own service, which means I'm gonna have to spend more money, which makes me not happy. We're gonna have to cut something out because I won't be without my Marvel shows. And obviously more Punisher, which I wonder what that means for the series is going forward. Are the ones that are there are going to stay, and that no further are going to be developed for those other production or publishing houses, or what?
It probably depends on what. Again, it all boils down to what does the contract say. Does it say as long as Netflix honors the renews the show, will they keep making it?
New Mutants, thank you. Yeah, that's
or what? Or does it mean like they can only make it for another 2 or 3 years, and then Disney can axe it?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, the contract thing.
And then, here's the other thing. Does that mean they can't pull new characters in, too? What if they wanted to bring in for Punisher? Well, he might already be in there. What's his name? Bushwhacker. The cyborg guy that has guns in his arms, I think it's Bushwhacker.
I don't think that's in this season. So,
no, but I'm saying like
going forward,
season 2, would they say okay, whatever characters you've already shown on the screen are the ones you can use. You cannot pull any more characters in,
right?
Because that'd be negotiating new rights. And then does that mean that Netflix is going to? So if that's the way the contract's worded, does that mean that they're going to go the Fox route where they're going to squeeze that, they're going to beat that dead horse until it's nothing but skin and bones, or just bones, or whatever you want?
It's funny you should mention Fox because that's also involved in this story. Because we're going to go right into it.
Yeah. So might as well jump in there now with it. And then we can. You want to?
Yeah, the biggest part of this week's stories is Disney is making and is currently still in talks. By the way, it said they fell through earlier this week, but as of today, they are still at the table with Fox. However,
and I think I know why. So why they initially fell through?
Fox's stocks are going up, so that's probably causing some issue. It's probably a figures thing. All right. Disney's making a play for Fox Entertainment. That would include the movie rights and the cable channels like FX and stuff like that. They want nothing to do with Fox News, Fox Sports, or Fox TV station in general. So, everybody's Channel 2 or whatever it is. Because those would cause regulatory inquiries and investigations because they'd start borderlining in, monopoly territory.
Right. Yes, it was. That was my thing. I think that's what initially fell through is when they said we want to buy Fox, and then the lawyers came up and like, we can't do that because now you got a monopoly and a conglomerate going on here. So
the
go ahead.
other thinking in that is Bob Iger's been retiring for the past 5 years, and I think from informed conversations that I've listened to on other shows, I think they're right talking about the fact that maybe this is part of his big send off is trying to unite properties again with Marvel and all that. Because let's get it straight here. That's what this is all about. It's not about anything else. They're just looking for ways to cover it up because for some odd reason people still like the Fantastic Four and would rather see them done right.
Listen,
I'd rather
Fantastic Four's good.
So the interesting thing is this is this move right now Marvel has plans through 2021 for Marvel movie products, okay? Mm-hmm. They have nothing planned past. They have said that the Infinity War will change the face of the universe as we know it. Mm-hmm. Whether that means some people exiting their roles and new roles being cast, but also maybe, just maybe, they've been trying to get this thing done with Fox for a lot longer than we know to try and unite. And maybe even setting up something like the Avengers versus the X-Men or something like that.
So yeah, and that's, you're absolutely right. Who knows how long these talks have been going on, but they weren't real talks. They were just, hey we're man, at the golf course.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what was going through my head when they were talking about it on the other show I was listening to. I was like, yeah, it's just Iger out there golfing with what's his name, just saying, hey, you know what, we could. This would be really cool if this would happen, don't you think?
And so here's one of the things is people are like the creator of Deadpool, what's his face, terrible artist, huh?
No, not Liefeld, right?
Yeah, Rob Liefeld. He's like, don't sell to Disney because Deadpool can't be Deadpool. Disney owns about 15 distributors.
Yeah,
they still make and send out R-rated movies through Miramax though usually.
Look at maybe not lately, but look at what they've put on Netflix at this point.
Yeah, and look what they allow with Netflix. And here's the thing, Deadpool's rated R and it's really vulgar and nasty, but it made $1 billion.
Yeah,
obviously more or less, it made them $800 million off a budget of $50 million, maybe $70 million, including PR, which they did really good PR.
Right.
They're going to totally allow that to keep going.
Yeah.
They want, again, this always boils down to money. And if it makes money, they're going to let it slide. Obviously, they're not going to have Deadpool hanging out with Mickey Mouse going on a stabbing spree, but they probably will say, oh, he's going to be over there. He's not going to interact with all of these characters, but he can be over there. Maybe they'll do that with X-Men. They'll leave the X-Men over here to do darker and edgier stories like that.
Properly at that.
And properly at that, yes.
Listen. For all their flaws, I think from start to finish, we can all agree that their best choice they ever made in actors was both Patrick Stewart and Logan.
Hugh Jackman.
Huge Jackman.
Yeah, I mean he's like what, 6'1", 6'2".
I mean those were
the guy that played Cyclops. He's only like 5'7", so they had to have him stand on like a running board. So he was as tall as Wolverine and as tall as Jean Grey.
I mean, aside from that, though, I mean the passion that you get from those two. And I thought that was a great send off for the last movie, for both of those actors. It was the perfect storm for those two characters, and that was all they nailed down. Mm-hmm. It'll be hard replacing them. Who knows what they could do if it's under Marvel's purview and who they can find. And people, as silly as it is, are throwing themselves at being in roles for Marvel movies.
Because it launches so many careers. Look how many, like, Chris Pratt had Parks and Recs, and he was a fat guy on it. And now they found out, oh, wow, he can be an action star. And now he got, what, Jurassic World.
Yeah. Even better, even though it's not an actual Marvel title yet, technically. Hopefully that gets cleared up. But the girl that plays Negasonic Teenage Warhead, she's in the current season of what show am I watching?
I don't know. What show are you watching?
Is it Poltergeist? The TV
I don't
show?
know. You didn't tell me in the banter what show you were watching. I never talked to you outside this show.
God, continue.
So, anyways, so she's starting out big. The girl that played X-23, her career's going to be taking off soon because everybody loved her. Who else do we have? Chris Evans. They reignited Robert Downey Jr. They Benedict Cumberbatch or Cumberbund or whatever his name is, Cinnamon Roll. His career has been taking off. Yes, he was the voice of Smaug, and he's been in Sherlock, but now Doctor Strange is out there. Doctor Strange is probably my favorite Marvel film so far because it averted so many of the cliche tropes that they've been doing lately.
I can't find this damn show. It's driving me. Oh, The Exorcist. There we go. Yeah, she's in the second season of The Exorcist. Thank you. My bad.
You're welcome.
All right. So this is good stuff. Hopefully it comes out with the Marvel side prevailing and unfortunately allowing Disney to take another chunk out of the production world. But it's CNBC's David Faber reported the deal has not completely been abandoned yet, and that was reported this afternoon. So they're still exploring it, and they are still trying as hard as they can to get this. Man, I tell you what, it would be huge to pull in those titles. Holy crap! To have a good Fantastic Four movie, which I still to this day have never seen any of the three that came out. To have the X-Men recast for better or for worse, they'll figure things out, but to get them to fit in, it'll be interesting. It'll be
and here's the other thing we're not looking at is they also want to announce they've announced their Disney Netflix, or whatever you want to call it, Disney Flix. Guess what? Fox has a lot of movies. They've made a lot of movies over the years, and the cable channels like FX have a lot of shows. FX actually has It's Always Sunny right now, don't they?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For
example, that's 12 seasons of It's Always Sunny right there. Without Fox, they're not going to get Fox TV, so they won't get like The Simpsons, which has 30 freaking seasons, or however many. I think they're up to 28 or 29.
That's what I was going to say, too, is this kind of pads their back what do you call it? Their inventory of shows for their streaming service.
Because they had, let's be honest, they had a handful of Disney cartoons. They had a handful of Disney live action shows, which are terrible for the most part. Most of them are terrible. They had made-for-TV movies that were mainly aimed at kids, and they had their A-game, Disney, both their theater movies and their animated movies.
Right.
So that sounds like a lot, but for a 24/7 streaming service, and even rotating stuff out, they would not have had enough. People would have gotten bored of it within a month. So they will absolutely need these cable channels and the movie rights.
Right.
Because here's the other thing: Star Wars. Let's circle back to Star Wars. Will this mean we'll get original versions of the original trilogy?
Maybe.
Because I think Fox still owns the rights to those. And also,
they're Fox Searchlight, right?
Yeah, something like that. This is absolutely going to crush. If this deal goes through, Netflix is pretty much done for.
Yeah.
Unless they get a lot of solid, good new shows, which they have some good shows, like even besides the Marvel stuff. They've been focusing a lot on animated stuff. Like Voltron's really good. There's a lot of good anime on there. If you're an anime weirdo like me.
I'm wondering what kind of effect this will have on Hulu as well. The big three own portions of Hulu.
Yeah.
ABC, NBC, and Fox.
ABC. And who is ABC owned by?
Disney.
Yeah.
And if Fox Entertainment gets bought by Disney, that means they would own 2/3 of the service.
Well, it depends. Is it under Fox TV?
It's probably held under Fox Entertainment, which is what Disney wants.
Yeah. Well, they might end up being forced to pull they're going to pull their stuff off of Hulu.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm wondering. Well, but that means that they're going to pull ABC. They're going to pull all the Fox stuff, and it's just going to be an NBC service.
It's going to be NBC plus whatever Hulu makes original. And the thing is, Netflix at least saw this coming years ago, and they've been trying to start building up stuff.
Yeah.
Hulu has not. Hulu's a lot younger than Netflix.
Yeah, they're still finding their way in original content. Amazon Prime's the same way.
Yeah.
Amazon, Prime Videos. So.
But at least with Amazon Prime, you can still buy like HBO and Stars and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Through them.
They also have some extra back. Well, you can do the same for Hulu now. You can get Showtime through them. You can get.
Can you? Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's how they got. What's it called?
Well, I mean,
Twin Peaks.
They might still be fine then.
Yeah, they might be all right. I was just curious as to what that means for ABC and Fox products on there because,
I wonder how that would, if that would violate anything contractually with Hulu because they're basically like a consolidation service, like a middleman in a way.
It's not a middleman. It is owned by all three of them, so it's a conglomeration of the big three.
Again, like I said, I didn't mean like a literal middleman, but I'm saying like in order to get here, you can go through these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's what I mean. So they consolidate from those three sections for you to stream in one place. Who knows? Maybe they'll keep some of their stuff on there for the time being. We just don't know enough about what they're trying to do with their streaming service. They're going to have a bunch of live stuff,
right?
Live as in their newer shows. Or is it going to be all their old discontinued shows?
Right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the games so we can wrap this one up for this week.
Right.
All right. Oh, I should have had this picture changed already. Here we go. All right, report. Japanese third parties unconvinced of the Switch are now scrambling to bring titles in 2019. Holy crap. 2019. Wow, that's a long development cycle. I didn't even say that before. That's huge. So a lot of non-believers in the Switch, including myself, I wasn't really sold on it. I'm proud of the fact that I called that they'd go back to cartridges. But that was like a no-brainer move, and I'm kind of wondering what the next generation of consoles will hold us anyways. I think we'll find them following the lead of Nintendo here. Nintendo has sold to September 30th, from March 3rd when it released to September 30th, it has sold 7.3 million consoles. And they are predicting to sell... That shouldn't say 2019 there either. All right, predicting about 9.1 million by March, 9.1 million more by March 2018. So they're expecting a.
So I'm wondering if 2019 is a typo up here too.
I'm wondering too. I can look really quick, but I assume they're expecting a big holiday season here.
Well, I know I really want to play Mario Odyssey. I've played Breath of the Wild already, so I'm not that concerned about getting that for the Switch because, all I would really get is a graphical update, I guess, and I'm not that concerned about graphics. And the new Mario Kart, first of all, this is going to be good for Nintendo because, since the 64, they've been desperately struggling for third parties, but if this gets the third parties jumping on board with Nintendo, and if Nintendo is more willing to work with them and being less strict on what they can and cannot do, which I don't know how lenient they've been the last few systems.
Right.
And fortunately, this system is better in a way. I mean, love them or hate them, the Joy-Cons, at least you can take them off that screen and play with them by themselves.
Right.
As opposed to holding that massive Wii U pad the entire time. Or the Wii with just the stick and the nunchuck, which, most of the third-party games barely worked on it.
It was a cute gimmick for a while, and what was it, Twilight Princess that was on that? That one was all right with those controls. I think
Skyward Sword was the one that really tried to push it. And
oh, okay, yeah, I didn't.
Twilight Princess was on the Wii.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it was also on the GameCube. GameCube.
No, no.
Yeah.
Twilight Princess. Yeah, it was half and half. Yeah, half and half.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you. Are you talking about my beard or Jeremy's beard?
What? Oh, yeah. He's not talking about mine. Mine's more just a goatee. But anyways, yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. It does say the earliest ones will start showing up to 2019, which is interesting because the ones they list in this article are Capcom, which is not true because the first thing coming out from Capcom is Monster Hunter Double Cross, which will be out in March, which hopefully I'll get. Level 5, who does Fantasy Life and the Yokai Watch games.
I feel like they've done a platformer too.
Probably. And Bandai
Fantasy
Namco.
Life was good.
Bandai Namco. I want another. What was that? What was that one game? Was it Boktai? The Sun Is in Your Hand. Do you remember that one for the Game Boy Advance? It had a little
with the sun gun where you had to play
the solar, that thing was
would be
awesome.
cool.
That was a neat little thing. I don't expect a peripheral like that, but that's a neat idea. Bandai Namco knows what they're doing for games. But they mentioned those three as some of the big third parties that haven't said much, though. Even though, like I said, Capcom is already, we already know Double Cross isn't coming out for the 3DS, but it is coming out for the Switch. And they're in the middle of releasing Monster Hunter World on consoles, in January or February, with a beta next month, which I won't be able to play in because it's for PS4. All right, so anyway, this is, man, I gotta keep saying it, but I have a feeling that this is gonna drive all your 3DS games away.
I mean, I can see it either way. But I really, I just don't feel like it's there on battery life to be a good transportable game. And yes, these days, now that we're older and we do most of the driving, we don't really...
That's not what I was going to say. They already have extendable battery packs.
It's not even about the extendables. Yes. Listen, I could get a portable generator and plug it into the thing and go wherever I wanted. Okay? Extendable battery right there. That's not the point. I'm saying in the system itself. So it's like, okay, this system's $50. But the battery life's only going to last 3 hours. Now, you can spend $150 on all these extendable batteries. You know what I'm saying? I want out of the box. If they say this is supposed to be a portable, they give me portable level battery life. Yes, and then if they give me like 8 hours or 10 hours, which is pretty fair for the 3DS these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you look at tablets. Say you're playing like a really high graphic game on a tablet. That thing is not lasting the normal battery life. You're talking about a high-performance video game system producing graphics that are at 720p in your hands in something just a little bit bigger than this.
Listen, I don't need 720 when I'm traveling. Make it 3DS quality or a little bit better.
God. No, I
literally just said that I don't care about graphics. But first of all, tablets, I will not be playing games on tablets.
Oh, come on.
I've tried it, and I do not like it.
Well, if you end up getting the Switch, you'll be playing games on a tablet. Thank you. All right, next question. That'll be just a big controller, and I'm going to be playing it on my TV because I am the man of the house, and I decide what's on the TV. And there's also a reason why we have 3 TVs. Or 2 TVs. I forget how many we got. Yeah, remember? Nobody has more than one TV in the house. What was that, Back to the Future, remember?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else about that? You have any save runs on Switch?
By the way, Level 5 did mostly RPGs. They did Dragon Quest 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, Journey of the Curse King. That's,
Oh, okay.
and Professor Layton,
Oh yeah,
Nino
they make
Kuni.
those too.
Huh?
Yeah, Nino Kuni was on what, PlayStation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which my wife wants a sequel, but she's not going to get it if she doesn't finish the first one.
All right. Let's move on. Do you want to do this next one, or do you want to skip it and just go to the Bash piece?
So this one I want to throw out there real quick, just because it's a warning to anybody that posts online as if you need another one. NBC was caught trying to make gamers, as in all of us, look racist. So they found this. They took this video from a YouTuber, which was obviously either he found a troll online or him and his buddy were just making a bit for his YouTube channel. But the guy was being like obviously racist, like a parody racist. He said stuff like, "My grandpappy was straighter than us straight, and he made my grandmother happy, and he made my mom and dad." Stuff like that, like stuff you could obviously say, "Hey, this is not supposed to be taken serious." NBC cut it, like moved the audio around the video, and then posted like, "Oh, look, gamers are racist." And the video is, first of all, is from 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, from 2015.
Of course.
And so then they came out and asked him about it. He never gave them an answer. They used it anyways, which it's covered under fair use.
Yeah.
But you would think that if you're asking permission, but the thing is, you could base it off the notes, like the direct messaging that she had already made it. She just went back after the fact to ask for permission. So really, just be careful out there, because people are always looking for a way to be clickbaity. Even obvious jokes, we could have a flashing image on the screen saying, "This is a joke. Don't believe us." And somebody will take this and be like, "Look, these guys said it." So obviously, everybody in the same fandom, gaming, Star Wars, whatever, believes this, and they're horrible people.
Well,
So
I mean, this is like the news all the time. They take everything out of context to serve a purpose. So,
I mean, this is not. Trust me, this is not the first time. This is not going to be the last time. They've taken quotes from obvious accounts that were made to be fake by the people that are claiming to be victims. Like, I'm not going to name names, but we all know a certain Anita or whatever her name is that may or may not have done stuff like that before. I cannot prove it, so that is not an actual thing. But stuff like that may or may not have come out, so people can get money. So just be careful what you put out there for people.
right.
Just because, listen, right now, again, gaming is still the new evil. Just like comic books were, just like rock and roll was, just like D&D was. People are always looking for something to blame for the perceived wrongs of the world, and that is just gaming's turn right now. So let's move on to something more fun to yell about.
I am EA. I am Destroyer of Worlds. EA basically signs the death warrant of Respawn Entertainment. Sadly.
Yep. How many years? How many years you think you're gonna believe? I'm thinking like 3 years before Respawn gets the doors shut.
They want to at least get that Star Wars title out there. Let me tell you, because they're working on that, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
So, Respawn Entertainment's the studio behind the Titanfall franchise. They're being bought by EA. Well, by this time, I'm sure they're bought-in. Both companies are already working together on several products, including a VR game, which that should be interesting. I'm interested in big third-party developers making games for the VR system, so I can try those out. A Star Wars game and a new title in the Titanfall franchise, presumably Titanfall 3. Still a great game. I need to actually revisit it at some point. It was a lot of fun when it first came out, and DLCs didn't cost anything, so. But that should go away in the the next release under the iron fist of EA. EA announced the acquisition, saying the move builds on a successful publishing partnership already in place between the two companies. The fans, and there's no note in here, so I'll start with this one. The fans for years have been saying, "Don't sell out to EA. Don't sell out to EA." let's see.
To be fair, EA gave them $455 million.
Well,
151 million up front.
I mean,
that's kind of hard to say no to.
I guess. I mean, I know that's the purpose of building up a company like that, is to get it bought out to the the highest bidder. So, Respawn CEO Vince Zampella said the move brings the resources and support his company needs for its long-term success.
Long term, buddy. Oh my goodness.
Vince, let me show you to the graveyard. We're excited to combine our strengths, he said on the acquisition. In a statement on Respawn's site, Zampella said, there will be no layoffs or major organizational changes at Respawn, and games currently in development are continuing as planned. EA paid $151 million up front for Respawn, with $164 million in long-term equity paid out over the next 4 years, which is still a lot of money in big bursts. There's also a long-term consideration worth a maximum of $140 million. Back in August, Respawn promised fans there would be more Titanfall on the way, and Zampella saying Respawn is heavily invested in the Titanfall franchise, which is the reason why they're around in the first place. In May of 2016, EA first announced Respawn was working on a new third-person Star Wars game.
So, here's some of my predictions. The next Titanfall game, every time your Titan blows up, microtransactions. Yeah, you got to buy a new one. 50 cents, 99 cents, $1, $1.50.
You want to finish that story mode? Well, we're going to need about $50.
Yes. And here's the thing. This is such bad news. Such bad news. I mean, yeah, it's okay. It always happens up front. They get the money. They make a couple of good games. But then, we gave you $150 million, and you only made $160 million on this game. Boom, your doors are closed.
Promises are worth as much as the people making them are worth. Okay, yeah. At least their honesty, because perfect case in point are the guys that worked for Infinity Ward when they got bought and brought into the fold by Activision. And those two guys that were the driving force between Modern Warfare were told after they made Modern Warfare 2 they'd be able to make a game of their choosing. And you know what? Activision screwed them and said, no, we need you to make Modern Warfare 3. And that's why we got the break and we started getting all the stuff intertwined between Sledgehammer and what's the other company that does Call of Duty games? Anyways, the other studio, the other smaller studio. So it's just one of those things. I'll be sad but unsurprised when this finally comes to pass. Just like who did they just kill off? We talked about last week.
What was it? Vicious Games or something like that? Visceral.
Visceral. Yeah, right? There you go. Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
a very prominent game studio.
Yeah. So in the end, you should stay away from EA.
So real quick, I want to add one last note in there. There's also another game that's not even out yet, and people are now able to pre-order their microtransactions.
Oh, excellent.
Have you heard about this one? It's like Recast or something. I haven't got all the details. I couldn't find enough details online for the thing, but it's like, yeah, you can go ahead and pre-order some of these coins that get used in the game. Like, why? First of all, you don't even know if the game's going to be good or not. And you're going to pre-order the currency for in-game?
It's like
I understand pre-ordering a game from a company that I know is going to be good. Like, whatever. Like, pre-order Sonic Mania. It was going to be a 2D game. Yeah, it was kind of risky, but I was going to enjoy it because it was a 2D Sonic game.
Right.
But, or from Nintendo, pre-ordering a Legend of Zelda game?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's like, you got a 95% chance of it being excellent.
Yeah, right.
You know?
So
whatever. But so some kind of good news, some kind of bad news for gaming this week.
No, it's just continuous bad news lately. More stuff came out about World of Warcraft, but if you guys want to hear more about it, just let us know. Otherwise, we'll put more out as it comes out for when they actually release all the information for it. Otherwise, we won't presume to waste your time for it. Because there are plenty of other things happening here and there. Maybe if we don't talk so much on other subjects, we'll get to those. But that's all we got for you this week. Thank you for listening, and thanks to those of you who joined us on the live stream. Please leave us feedback on our show wherever you get it from, whether that be iTunes or whatever distribution, Google Play Music, anything like that. Let us know what you think, and let everybody else know what you think as well. And don't forget to check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/StasisGeek.
Do you want to ask us a question? Get it? You can contact us at ECG_podcast on Twitter, and our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/ECGpodcast, or our email address at ecgpodcast@gmail.com. Also visit our webpage, www.stasisgeek.com. That's STASISGEK.com. I misspelled that. No, I did it right. Or post a comment on this video, and we'll probably read it. Jeremy will read it. Then I will read it, and then we'll both give you thumbs up.
Right. All right, we'll be back next week. Happy Veterans Day to all you veterans out there. I know there's a good portion of you that listen to the show that are. Like I said, we'll be back next week. Until then, stay geeky.